All right, Shalom, Yasharallah. Before we get started, we're going to give our praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and elders of Great Millstone to teach and rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. Back, another video, another lesson. And this lesson will be a response. It's going to be a response to the elder Menata Zakba, but the title is Biblical Proof the Israelites Returned to Israel in 1948. All right, and I may change the title to something different, but when the so-called Jews, the fake ones in the land, when they went there in 1948, they didn't fulfill prophecy, because they're not the actual people. If they were the actual people, then you will see a total difference in the earth. The earth will actually be it'll be more it won't look the way it looks now. You won't have chemtrails in the earth, and plus they'll be in a new covenant. We'll be in a new covenant right now, if they were the actual people. But you don't see that, right? You in the laws, the biblical laws, the most high's laws will be forwarded in the earth. You wouldn't have no adultery, you wouldn't have no moles, okay? You wouldn't have things that would that lead to death. Things will be leading to life. You see? So how are these people, the Jews, how do they fulfill prophecy in 1948? Let's get Micah 4:1. And if you want to watch the video, I'll pull it up for you. All right, the element on Zakba.
All right, Shalom.
This video right here, okay? Anyone in on this guy? Let's see if I can show him. Yeah, this dude right here. I did a video on him before. And brothers believe he's an agent. He probably was in the camp for about a short period of time. I don't know what camp he was a part of. But it's clear he learned, and then he left just so he can, come up against the doctrine. But it's clear, brothers believe he's an agent, and he probably is an agent. Most likely is an agent. So if you want to watch this video, you can. I'm not really gonna play it, because it's a waste of time. Well, I'll play a little bit.
Not the real Israelites. I'm going to show you a video how a man uses the prophecy in Daniel and Ezekiel to prove that the Israelites that came back in 1948, solidified in 1967-68, fits the timeline prophecy in Daniel. They came back right when the prophecy said they would come back, proving that they are the real Israelites. Watch this video.
But he told us these things happen, these events happen after verse 25, after the 69 weeks, but before the 70th week, which is the tribulation. So we know that there's an interval. There's a space of time or a gap of time between when Jesus came the first time and when the tribulation begins. But how long is that gap of time? Well, this is the one thing we didn't learn from Daniel, but we learned from Ezekiel. Ezekiel was told by God to lay on his side so many days on his left, and to lay on his side so many days on his right. And each day that he laid on his side represented 1 year. And he said, because of the people's sin, they're going to have to, or they owe me these many years of servitude. And so what we find out is they haven't paid their years of servitude. It's actually 7 times more because they rebelled against God. And Leviticus tells us that. So, how long is this interval, the space of time between when the Messiah first came and the tribulation begins, and which the Messiah will come at the end of it? Well, we know that they came out of the Babylonian captivity on July 23rd, 537 BC. That's when it ended. But they still owed God 2,520 years of servitude. And let me ask you this. Is God going to do these great things for Israel until they paid their debt? No. God doesn't do that. Because the plumb line is just and the level is righteousness. So now they're going to have to pay this. So from this time in, there's 2,520 years of servitude they still owe God. So when we count that off, and we can convert that to days, and we convert that to years, months, and dates, and we find out that on May the 14th, 1948, Israel became a nation. The very day that they paid off their debt to God in years of servitude.
1948 is when they returned from the north, south, east, west, all over. They'll tell you it was just the Ashkenazi Jews, which they're trying to tell you aren't Jews, but they are Jews, just like Ethiopian Jews are Jews. They're just mixed groups of people. Actually, the United States...
Now, I'm going to stop it right there because he said something. He said in 1948, let's replay it one more time. Let me hear
aren't Jews, but they are Jews, just like south, east, west, all over.
In years of servitude.
1948 is when they returned from the north, south, east, west, all over. They'll tell you it was just the Ashkenazi.
He said they returned from all over, from the north, south, east, and west, right? But why do they all look the same? They're all the same. They all have the same complexion. They look the same. It says in the scriptures that, let's get it real quick. All right. Before we get there, let's get Jeremiah. Is it 11? It may be 12. This is Jeremiah 12 in verse 9. It says, mine heritage is unto me as a speckled bird. The birds round about are against her. Come ye, assemble all the beasts of the field, come to devour. You see? So the Lord's heritage is a speckled bird. All right? We look like different shades. You know? Now, don't get me wrong. You do have Israelites that do look like so-called white people. You know? They may have a so-called African-American father and a so-called white-looking mother, you know, and he may come out looking, you know, lighter, and he may get with a white woman, and his son may get with a white woman, and then, you know, it trickles down. But they're still an Israelite. They may lose the melanin, you know, but they still are Israelite because they go back to the seed of the father. So you do have, you know, certain people who look white. They're Israelites, you know. So I'm not saying that, you know, some people over there could be, they're not, but some of them could be, you know. But as we know, the children of Israel has been scattered throughout the whole world, you know. Let's get Deuteronomy 28, if we can. Deuteronomy 28 and 64. And it reads, and the Lord's name is Yahweh. All right, when you see Lord in all caps, that's the Most High's name. And his son's name is Yahweh. All right. It says, and the Lord Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. You see, so we would be scattered throughout the whole world, you know. So we would scatter all over, and we return when we all look totally different, you know. And then another thing, like the elder, he brought it out in his video. Like I said, you should go watch it. We would have, you know, we would be immortals. If they were the people if they were the true people in the Holy Land, they would be immortals. They would live forever. Right? The Lord that came back already, because in the scriptures it tells us that the Lord will set them in their own land, not them. They won't go back on their own. Right? Let's get that. First, let's get Micah 4 and verse. Let's get Micah 4, and it reads, but in the last days it shall come to pass that the mountain of the house of the Lord Yahweh shall be established in the top of the mountains, which is government. Governments. Mountains represent governments. And it shall be above. It shall be exalted above the hills, and the people shall flow unto it. And many nations shall come and say, come, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, into the house of the God of Jacob. And he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. You don't see that happening right now. Right? When the people go, when the Israelites go back to the Holy Land, people will come and they will learn the laws, and they will walk in the ways of the Lord. Okay? For the law shall go forth out of Zion, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. And he shall judge among many people, and rebuke strong nations afar off. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares, right? And their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up a sword against a nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. There'll be no more wars when the Israelites get back to the Holy Land. Verse 4, but they shall sit every man under his vine and under his fig tree, and none shall make them afraid, for the mouth of the Lord of hosts have spoken it. So the Israelites will dwell safely in that land. All right. And another thing, if they were the true people, they would be downtrodden. People would hate, the Israelites, because it tells us in the curses that they would be a proverb and a byword and astonishment among the nations. Let's get Jeremiah real quick. Jeremiah 15:5, it says, for who shall have pity upon thee, O Jerusalem? Or who shall bemoan thee? Or who shall go aside to ask how thou doest? Right? Let's read that NLT version. It says, who will feel sorry for you, Jerusalem? Who will weep for you? Who will even bother to ask you, how are you? You see that? And these nations don't care about Jake. They don't care about the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans. All right, they come in their neighborhoods and they set up these different shops and put poison. All right, they give us this poison, the liquor, the weed, all this different stuff, man. Okay, because they want you to be destroyed. All right, so these are when we go back to the Holy Land, we're gonna be a nation above all nations. We're gonna be a holy nation, which holy means set apart. Right? Let's get we got that. Now let's go to Ezekiel 37. Okay. This is Ezekiel 37:21, and it says, and say unto them, thus saith the Lord power, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen. See, the Lord's going to do this, not your own selves. Okay. It says, and the 1948 was it's called the Balfour Declaration. Right? Go look that up. It says, and say unto them, thus saith the Lord power, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither they be gone, and will gather them on every side, and will bring them into their own land. See? So when the Lord returns, which is Yahweh Shai, he's gonna save his elect. All right, they're gonna be changed they're gonna be given new bodies. They're gonna come down from that chariot, and they're gonna set up shop on the earth, starting in the Holy Land. Okay, Salakia. It says, and I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all, which is, all right, King David. And they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore, because right now we're still divided. We're all here together in America, but we're still divided. You still got the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, right? Because you still got those of us who are woken up, we're not against each other anymore, but you still got those in the world, they fight against one another. It says, neither shall they defile themselves any more with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions, but I will save them out of all their dwelling places wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them. It says, so shall they be my people, and I will be their power. You see that? So when the Lord returns, he's going to set us in our own land. Okay, he's going to come, he's going to save his elect. All right, he's going to put us back in our land. It never said, there's no biblical prophecy where the Israelites will do that on their own selves. You see? Let's get matter of fact, we can read this in an NLT. I'm sorry. We can read that in an NLT. We can. It says, let's get that. Ezekiel 37:21, NLT, it says, and give them this message from the sovereign Lord. I will gather the people of Israel from among the nations. See? He will gather the nation of Israel. He's going to do it himself. It says, I will bring them home to their own land. It says, from the places where they have been scattered. Right? I will unify them into one nation on the mountains of Israel. One king who will rule them all. It says, one king will rule them all. No longer will they be divided into two nations or into two kingdoms. They will never, again pollute themselves with their idols and vile images and rebellion. For I will save them from their sinful backsliding. I will cleanse them. Then they will truly be my people, and I will be their power. I will be their God. You see that? So it told you that the Lord will will gather us and set us in our own land. Okay, not by no Balfour Declaration. Let's get that. Let's pull that up real quick. You can, the right? The Balfour Declaration was a public statement issued by the British government in 1917 during the First World War, announcing its support for the establishment of a national home for Jewish people in Palestine, then an Ottoman region with a small minority Jewish population. You see, you got a video of Jacob Rothschild going into the Balfour Declaration. All right, you can look it up on YouTube. All right, here's more of it. The Balfour Declaration was a public statement issued by the British government, which is a part of that, that beast system, in 1917 during the First World War, announcing its support for the establishment of a national home for Jewish people in Palestine, then an Ottoman region with a small minority Jewish population. The declaration was contained in a letter dated November 2nd, 1917, from Arthur Balfour, the British Foreign Secretary, to Lord Rothschild, to the leader of British, Jewish community, okay, for transmission to the Zionist Federation of Great Britain and Ireland. The text of the declaration was published in the press on November 9th, 1917. You see? So they were set up, they were set up to be in that land. Some of them know they're not supposed to be there. Really, the Israelites are still supposed to be in exile until the Lord returns. But let's get this. Let's go back a chapter. Yeah, let's do that. Ezekiel 36 and verse 22. Put in the KJV, and it says, Israel to be renewed for his name's sake. Right, that's the heading. It says, therefore say unto the house of Israel, thus saith the Lord power, I do not this for your sakes, O house of Israel, but for my holy name's sake, which ye have profaned among the heathen, whither ye went. And I will sanctify my great name, which was profaned among the heathen, which ye have profaned in the midst of them. And the heathen shall know that I am Yahweh, saith the Lord power, when I shall be sanctified in you before their eyes. For I will take you from among the heathen, and gather you out of all countries, and bring you into your own land. See that? It says, then will I sprinkle clean water upon you, and you shall be clean. From all your filthiness and from your idols will I cleanse you. A new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you, and I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you a heart of flesh. Right? It says, and I'll put my spirit within you, and cause you to walk in my statutes, and ye shall keep my judgments and do them. Are they walking in the laws of the Lord? No. And ye shall dwell in the land that I gave to your fathers, and ye shall be my people, and I will be your God. Simple as that. Simple. No need to break that down. Let's get the NLT version. Verse 22 again. Therefore, give the people of Israel this message from the sovereign Lord. I am bringing you back, but not because you deserve it. I am doing it because we don't. We don't deserve it. After all the things we did to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, man, we don't deserve to go back anywhere. Really, we deserve to be destroyed, but the Lord had a remnant saved. So the water Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Therefore, give the people of Israel this message from the sovereign Lord. I am bringing you back, but not because you deserve it. I am doing it to protect my holy name, on which you brought shame while you were scattered among the nations, worshiping other gods and stuff like that. It says, I will show you how my holy great name is, the name on which you bring shame among the name Salaki. Read it again. Verse 23. I will show how holy my great name is, the name on which you brought shame among the nations. And when I reveal my holiness, it says, through you before their very eyes. It says, Salakia. Yeah, says the sovereign Lord, then the nations will know that I am the Lord. For I will gather you up from all the nations and bring you home again to your land. The Lord says he will gather you up. He's going to gather us up. From the lands we were scattered, and bring us home again. When in prophecy do you see that in 1948 that the Lord will bring us, that us ourselves will put us back in our own land? You don't see that anywhere. Then I will sprinkle clean water on you. The Lord's going to cleanse us, and you will be clean. Your filth will be washed away, and you will no longer worship idols. And I'll give you a new heart, and I will put a new spirit in you. I will take out your stony, stubborn heart and give you a tender, responsive heart. I will put my spirit in you so that you will follow my decrees and be careful to obey my regulations. And then it says, and you will live in Israel. Let's read that again. And you will live in Israel, the land I gave your ancestors long ago. Who are the ancestors? Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Those are the ancestors. Not Abraham, Isaac, and Esau. Okay? It's Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. And now it says, and you will live in Israel, the land I gave your ancestors long ago. You will be my people, and I will be your God. You see that? So the Lord said he will gather us and put us back in our own land. Okay? Let's get this last one. Okay? And when we get back to our land, there's going to be no more violence, no more wars, none of that. It's going to be complete peace. As Isaiah 60:18 says, violence shall no more be heard in thy land, wasting nor destruction within thy borders. But thou shalt call thy walls salvation and thy gates praise. So we're going to dwell safely in the land of Israel when we go back. Those people over there, they got a whole, what they call it? The Iron Dome. They're getting money. You know, there's nowhere in prophecy that these people will be, you know, that they would be lifted up, because the Israelites supposed to be, you know, an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword, right? So let's read the NLT version. It reads, violence will disappear from your land. The desolation and destruction of war will end. Salvation will surround you like city walls, and praise will be on the lips of all who enter. These people aren't getting praised. People, they hate these people over there. But if you talk about them, you know, they'll what? They'll take down your page, they'll take down your channel, right? So you even can't speak on these people, you know. So, and they control the whole world. Job 9:24, the earth is given to the hand of the wicked. They're the wicked. That's Amalek in that land. You see, they call them the 48 haters, the 48ers, the small hats. Okay, they're part. They control this. You know, they're part of those that control this world. The Zionists. You see, so that dude is completely bugged out. All right, he doesn't know what's going on. All right, and 1948 didn't fulfill prophecy. Okay, when the children of Israel go back, you'll see when we get back to the land, you're gonna see that the world's gonna flood. The earth is gonna flourish. It's gonna be, you know, people are gonna be in a righteous. It's gonna be a righteous vibration. Matter of fact, I get one more. I'll get Proverbs 29 and 2. It says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. You see that? And people are mourning right now. Nobody is in a rejoiceful spirit. Okay, because the righteous aren't in authority. You know, it's even a YouTube video of a woman. I think she's in the Middle East somewhere, saying to the so-called, you know, to the Israelites, the real Israelites, to come back home. You know, that's where we come from. This land here, this is a strange land to us. We don't belong here. When you really think about it, this is really a strange land. This isn't our home. It tells us that in Micah 2:10, rise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. It shall soar you. It shall destroy you, even with a sword destruction. You know, roughly paraphrasing it. You know, so this land isn't ours. Okay, so Lord willing, this was edifying to you brothers and you sisters out there. Like I say, you can watch the rest of the elders video. You know, really, you know, he too easy, man, too easy. So Lord willing, was edifying. We're gonna give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachak Wadash. And double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone that teach and rule well. Peace and salutations to the whole full elect. Lord is edified. To next time, I'm going to say, Shalom.